morning, everyone. Grab your popcorn and your beverages, as The Real Deal has returned with this week with yet another great episode full of entertainment. I'm your host, Stephanie Bristow. Join us as we look at a new twist on Molly Raker's episode of the week, and grab your laptop, as I'm sure you'll want to download some of Morgan Stair's top 5 film scores. All that and more is coming up. But first, let's join Brittany Knox and hear what's new with this week's Hollywood headlines. Brittany?
Thanks, Stephanie. The debut of Glee's 3rd season with episode The Purple Piano Project was last Tuesday night, and unfortunately the show's ratings were down 32% compared to its season 2 premiere. Only 8.9 million viewers watched the premiere last Tuesday. Glee could possibly be losing some Gleeks because of its circling, repetitious plot. However, the show is trying to remain fresh by adding a few new characters to potentially replace leads Finn, Rachel, and Kurt, who will graduate at season's end. These new additions will include the 2 winners of this summer's reality hit, The Glee Project, Damian McGinty and Samuel Larson. After being scrutinized for weeks on end for spiking their fees and splitting their company, Netflix finally has something positive in the media. Netflix has secured the exclusive first-run rights for all DreamWorks animation features. Ted Sarandos, Chief Content Officer of Netflix, said, "This agreement strengthens the lineup of great family content Netflix members will be able to watch instantly and also increases the number of hit first-run films we'll have available in the pay TV window." This new deal for Netflix won't begin until the release of DreamWorks' 2013 films, but other past-release films will be available after a certain time. This also marks a notch in the history of the film industry because this is the first time a studio has ever gotten their first-run rights to a streaming web application. Janet Ivanovich's best-selling novel, One for the Money, is being adapted to the big screen and will be in theaters January 27, 2012. The movie stars Katherine Heigl, Jason O'Mara, and Daniel Sunyata. The movie is about an unemployed and newly divorced woman who lands a job at her cousin's bail bond business as a bounty hunter. Her first job is to track down a former cop on the run for committing murder who just so happens to be the same man that broke her heart. It will be interesting to see how fans of the book will react to the movie. That's what's going on in Hollywood. Back to you, Stephanie.
Thank you, Brittany. Now that we're all caught up with Hollywood, let's turn the dial to Kaylee Russell for the Music Minute. Kaylee?
As many people know, there have been several recent changes to Facebook. One of those changes is you can now legally share music on Facebook through companies such as Spotify. Install the app, then search and listen to songs completely for free. You can listen to your friends' music or songs that are recommended for you based on your music interests. Listening to music while social networking has never been easier. This past Saturday marked the 20th anniversary of Nirvana's album, Nevermind. It took only 9 weeks for the album to go platinum. Nevermind is considered by fans and experts alike one of the few albums to change the face of the music industry, and it still astounds listeners today. The song Smells Like Teen Spirit was on a seemingly endless rotation on MTV, which most likely contributed to Nirvana's success. In celebration of the anniversary, iTunes will release a remastered version and a deluxe edition of Nevermind tomorrow. Back to you, Stephanie.
Thank you, Kaylee. Well, friends, it's time for our first commercial break. When we come back, we'll hear Morgan Stair's thoughts on some of the greatest movie scores of all time. Go grab your refills and meet us back here for our next segment in about 90 seconds. Ready? Go.
Hello?
I knew I'd find it.
How'd you get this number?
You have no idea who you're messing with.
Trust me.
Can't give up on her. We're gonna shake things up. Why don't you walk me through the board?
I believe there's a championship team that we can afford because everyone else undervalues them, like an island of misfit toys.
Here we are again. Great timing. It's time to sit back, relax, and be serenaded by the wonderful orchestral sounds of Morgan Stair talking about his favorite movie scores. Take it away, Morgan.
Thank you, Stephanie. A movie is only as memorable as its musical score. Don't believe me? When I say Jaws, what does your brain immediately do? Da-dum, da-dum, dun 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 da da da. A good movie score can make a mediocre movie great, and a mediocre score can drive you insane. These are my top 5 greatest movie scores of all time. Number 5, Star Wars by John Williams. It's impossible not to let yourself get taken to a galaxy far, far away when that theme comes on. But what's truly remarkable about the music in Star Wars is that it almost saved the prequels. Almost. If it wasn't for Williams' masterful composition skills, I guarantee that twice as many people would have immediately realized that the prequels were nothing more than a load of amateurish bantha fodder. But episodes 1 through 3 actually kind of work on some level, thanks to nostalgia from the recurrence of classic themes mixed artfully with epic new themes that drive the sloppily concocted CGI smorgasbord posing as a story forward. Number 4, Lord of the Rings by Howard Shore. Forget the fact that this trilogy is so lengthy that it's absurd, and that hardly a moment goes by where there isn't background music. Shore does an absolutely brilliant job of creating different themes that set different moods in numerous different locations in the fantasy world of Middle-earth. The scope of the story is colossal, and the music certainly reflects that. The different fictional locations that the characters travel to are basically like different nations, filled with different races of magical people. Not only does the music feel ethnically diverse, but it's catchier than Rebecca Black's hit single, Friday. Howard, you shall pass. Number 3, Finding Nemo by Thomas Newman. The year was 2003, and Pixar was getting more ambitious with its animation and storytelling. Until then, Randy Newman had provided scores for all of Pixar's feature films. But the nautical tale of Finding Nemo called for something a little less cutesy and more resonant. So they gave Randy the boot and called his cousin, Thomas. The ethereal sounds used, combined with poignant, heart-wrenching melodies, really sold the vastness of the CGI ocean and made Marlin's mission to rescue his son from an Australian dentist seem that much more hopeless. In contrast, the frantic action motifs gave the viewer an elated, euphoric feeling as the beautifully animated action sequences played out. Number 2, Pirates of the Caribbean by Klaus Badelt and Hans Zimmer. The goal of the Pirates movies is to make the life of a pirate seem like it's the funnest thing ever. The performances in these movies are the definition of hammy. The music is as fun and hammy as it can possibly be, and I love it. Driving musical themes heavy on brass and percussion make the action scenes pop. Even though the movies themselves weren't that good after Curse of the Black Pearl, the music, in my opinion, just got better. It's so over the top that it even borders on self-parody at times. But hey, Johnny Depp has been playing a parody of himself since 2003, so it works perfectly. And my number 1 favorite movie score of all time is Back to the Future by Alan Silvestri. Many experts maintain that the commercial success of the first Back to the Future movie in 1985 was due in large part to Silvestri's score. It's big, boisterous, and epic, which is somewhat of a contrast to the rather disturbing mother-son love story. Most people fail to recall how little background music there actually is in Part 1. It's so memorable that it seems like it covers over 90% of the movie, but really, it's less than half. In Parts 2 and 3, Silvestri really gets to shine. Part 2 saw a more methodical, intense, and dark kind of score, which reflected the grave circumstances and high stakes of the action-packed sequel. In Part 3, you can feel how much fun Silvestri had writing the new themes for the movie, which takes place in the Old West. We get bouncy, Western adventure-sounding themes for the fun parts, and beautiful, somber, melancholy themes for the scenes where Doc, played by Christopher Lloyd, is very sad that he has to leave the stepmom from Step Brothers in the past. Only 4 more years until hoverboards. So those are the top 5 greatest movie scores of all time. Honorable mention goes to Michael Giacchino for composing several phenomenal Pixar scores and all of the music from Lost. For Top 5, I'm Morgan Stair. Back to you, Stephanie.
Thanks, Morgan. Music to our ears. Unfortunately, we're about to part again, but only for a minute. We'll be right back with a list of movies to look forward to this year, and we'll hear from Molly Raker about what new series we should all be keeping our eyes on. Don't go away. This time around, we'll hear Molly Raker's professional opinion on the newest series that aired on television this week. But first, let's see what upcoming movies we should be most excited about with Andrew and Ben. Take it away, guys.
Thanks, Stephanie. And thank you all for tuning in to another segment of Hit or Miss with Ben and Andrew. I'm Andrew.
And I'm Ben.
And this week, we are going to talk about 3 highly anticipated fall movies that we think you should keep an eye out for.
Our first film is the recently released Moneyball, directed by Bennett Miller and starring Brad Pitt. This film focuses on Billy Beane, the Oakland Athletics general manager who strove to reinvent the game of baseball by assembling a team of undervalued players on a tight budget.
Yeah, I'm a really big baseball guy, Ben, but I just really don't feel like there have been a lot of really good, serious baseball movies produced in our time. I'm not saying movies like The Natural and Field of Dreams and Major League are bad films, but they're certainly not realistic, and they're not based off true events. We still love you, Kevin Costner. Moneyball, on the other hand, looks like it might just break that trend and show audiences a new and fresh take on our national pastime by going behind the scenes of the game.
Yeah, I agree. I'm a huge baseball movie fan too, but there are 2 reasons why I want to see this movie. One, Aaron Sorkin wrote the script, and having won the Oscar last year for The Social Network, we both love that movie, and also from watching the trailer of Moneyball, I feel like it's going to have the same and similar tone and feel to The Social Network. And number 2, it's got a great cast.
Yeah, not only is Brad Pitt starring in this film, but Philip Seymour Hoffman and Jonah Hill. Yes, Jonah Hill is co-starring. This movie has already been released, and it is getting rave reviews, even though we haven't seen it yet. It's also got a whopping 94% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Our next film is the George Clooney-directed political drama, The Ides of March. Coming out on October 7th, this film, along with Clooney, stars Ryan Gosling, Philip Seymour Hoffman, Paul Giamatti, among many others. Can you say Oscar bait?
George Clooney is the presidential candidate, and Ryan Gosling is his campaign manager, who gets stuck in a political scandal that threatens to ruin his candidate's presidency. Of all the 3 movies that we're talking about, I feel like this might be the one that I'm least excited about. I'm not, it looks like it's going to be good, but I'm not a huge fan of political thrillers. But yeah, I'm just not too excited about this film.
Yeah, we both know it's going to win a ton of awards.
It's going to
at least be nominated.
It's going to win a lot of awards, right?
That's fair enough. But I feel like I really want to see this movie only because of Ryan Gosling. I mean, I feel like he was snubbed last year of getting nominated for Blue Valentine. But this year, I feel like he has double the chances of getting that nomination, not only for The Ides of March, but also for Drive.
Right, and we both need to see Drive.
Yeah.
Definitely. Our third and final film we're talking about is Real Steel, which is the sequel to The Fighter, starring Hugh Jackman and Optimus Prime. No, wait, that's not right. Actually, this is the film about a near future where the sport of boxing is high tech. Hugh Jackman plays a washed-up boxer who teams up with his estranged son to build and compete with a robot champion boxer.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this film, not only because Steven Spielberg is producing it, but I just love seeing Hugh Jackman in these intense roles.
Yeah, we loved him as Wolverine, and it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And also, Rock'em Sock'em Robots was my favorite toy as a kid, so I don't think I'm going to be able to miss this one.
Yeah.
So,
this has been Hit or Miss with Ben and Andrew.
Go grab some popcorn and watch some movies.
Back to you, Stephanie.
Thanks, fellas. I know we will all take those opinions into serious consideration the next time we head to the theaters. Now we switch gears to the small screen. Get your pen and paper ready as Molly Raker tells us what new blockbusting TV pilots will be delivering some great series this season. Molly?
Thanks, Stephanie. Now, there were probably about 8 shows that I watched last week that were new, and I'm going to rank them all. I'm going to rank them as pineapples, not stars, because pineapples are awesome, and Psych is awesome, and that returns October 12th. So, first we'll start off with The New Girl. Now, this was starring Zooey Deschanel, which everyone was so excited about because it's cute Zooey Deschanel. Yay! Which, you know, I thought it was okay. I mean, it had its funny moments, it had its predictable moments. All in all, I'm going to keep watching, and maybe the new actor will bring something new. So I give it 3.5 pineapples. Now, on to the critically acclaimed Two Broke Girls, which I guess was funny. People laughed. Oh, those were laugh tracks. Now makes sense. 2 pineapples. Now on to my favorite new show of the fall, which goes to Up All Night with Will Arnett, Christina Applegate, and Maya Rudolph about raising a baby, which I thought was brilliant because it doesn't use the baby gimmicks of I have threw up on my shirt, I'm going to work, and I don't even notice it. Love it. 4 pineapples. Needs a new baby. Now on to dramas. The Playboy Club, just really trying to be Mad Men, and kind of failed. I mean, wasn't bad for like an entertaining show, but didn't get good ratings, so it's probably not going to return. But, I mean, I'll give it 3 pineapples. Now, another 1960s piece is Pan Am. I mean, it had its cheesy moment, but it has potential to get that storyline that's really good. So I'm going to keep watching and see where it goes. So that's 3.5 pineapples. Now onto the 2 shows I told you to watch that I was severely disappointed with. Ringer and Persons of Interest. Ringer just needs better directing. I know, it's CW, but still. And Sarah Michelle Gellar, get a different facial expression. Please, you're playing twins. I want to see different things. Now, Person of Interest was, you know, okay, just seemed like another procedural cop show. You know, find the bad guy, kill the bad guy, capture the bad guy, save the day, yay! I mean, we'll see where it goes. It's J.J. Abrams and Jonathan Nolan. I'll keep watching. I give them both 3 pineapples. Now, one show I was pleasantly surprised with was Revenge. Good acting, very nice villain, good storyline. Answers should be told by episode 13 and a very hot actor. So, keeps my interest, 3.5 pineapples. Charlie's Angels, just not good. Don't watch it. 2 pineapples, I mean, fashion was kind of cool. Now, I know there are so many other shows, but I can't watch them all, and other ones just seem stupid. I'm talking about you, Unforgettable. And then there were some that didn't even premiere in time for me to review. Terra Nova. But we'll see which shows survive. I'm guessing not Playboy Club and not Free Agents. And the ones who do survive, we'll see if you can be my episode of the week. Back to you, Stephanie.
There you have it, people. Be sure to check those series out before it's too late. With that being said, it's time for our final commercial break, or as I like to call it, an excuse to go stock up on more popcorn and candy. But don't go away, because when we return, Erin Cromer will tell us her choice for Best of Bracken this week. See you soon. Welcome back, loyal friends. Now we transition to a segment that hits a little closer to home. Erin Cromer will tell us what film she watched from Bracken this week and why you should give it a look. Erin?
Thanks, Stephanie. A great movie is like a great dish. Once you experience it, you can't wait to share it. What I'd like to share with you this week isn't linguine with clams, but something equally satisfying and much more available on campus. Moonstruck was nominated for 6 Academy Awards and won 3, including Original Screenplay. It was directed by Norman Jewison, the wonderful director of Fiddler on the Roof. Set against a beautiful winter in New York City, Cher won her Oscar for Best Actress as Loretta Castorini, a dowdy widow engaged to a man she doesn't love. It takes a passionate young Nicolas Cage to pull her out of her drab existence. She is moonstruck. With an ensemble cast with backgrounds in New York theater, this romantic comedy is essentially about family and life. And like any Italian family, the Castorinis' lives revolve around the kitchen table. Set to Puccini's La Boheme and classic Dean Martin, this movie seems to fill you to the fingertips with music and moonlight after watching it. Some special features on this great DVD are interviews with real Brooklyn Italian families, behind-the-scenes footage, director commentary along with the screenwriter and Cher, and a walking tour of Little Italy's Mulberry Street, complete with cooking demonstrations and recipes. There isn't anything else I can say about this movie except that I've loved this movie my whole life, and I still couldn't stop myself from watching it 4 times this weekend. Enjoy. Back to you, Stephanie.
Thanks, Erin. Once again, it's time for us to wrap things up here in the studio, but I wanted to leave you with my final word. Tonight, I thought I'd do something different, so I'm going to obsess over Zooey Deschanel. Whether it's TV, music, or movies, this girl has got it all. Her show, The New Girl, which Molly already talked about, looks really promising. After a terrible breakup, she moves in with 3 guys who only choose her as a roommate because she is friends with models. Zoe comes to life as she tries to get back into the dating scene. Let's hope the show does well. And although she's been in dozens of movies, I really enjoy her character in 500 Days of Summer. Zoe does an amazing job playing Summer, who is the definition of a heartbreaker. This movie isn't exactly a feel-good movie, but I definitely think a lot of people can relate to it. And Zoe also has an amazing, unique singing voice. In addition to her own music, which you should check out, she has a song on the 500 Days of Summer soundtrack. I must admit, though, that my favorite song on that CD isn't by Zoe. If you're a fan of Hall & Oates, check out You Make My Dreams Come True. That's my final word and the end of our show this week. Be sure to check us out on Facebook and Twitter for the latest updates on all things entertainment. Join us again next week, same time, same place. I'm Stephanie Bristow. See you next week.
He's been saying, you'll feel better and don't worry and this is all fine, and like, it's not.
You can't change your situation. The only thing that you can change is how you choose to deal with that.
Peter Ward's back!
Once upon a time, there were 2 little girls who lived in a house.
Possible that all my exes got better with time?
You help me track down my exes, I'll help you escape yours.
You got a deal.